2024 season is about to kick off, and everybody is talking about Arizona Wildcats quarterback Noah Fafita and wide receiver Tetaroa McMillan. But I think we should be talking about another quarterback in the state of Arizona that could have a breakout 2024 season. We're going to talk about him next. Before we talk about Sam Leavitt and the Arizona State Sun Devils, if you like what we're doing here at Campus Canton, hit that like and subscribe button. Forks up, baby. Sam Leavitt. I think this kid is a phenomenal talent and truly has a chance to break out in 2024. And he's a player that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. If you followed us here at this channel, we've been talking about him. Let's give a little background here. He was a 4-star prospect out of high school for On3 and for 24/7 Sports, and a 3-star prospect for ESPN and Rivals. He transferred to Westland High School in Oregon his senior season because he wanted to play for head coach Chris Smith, who was a former NFL and XFL quarterback. He was named the Oregon Football Player of the Gatorade Oregon Football Player of the Year and Max Prep's Oregon High School Player of the Year after helping lead Westland to a 12-1 record and a Class 6A championship where he won the game for them with a lot of using his legs in a downpour. It was an extremely interesting game to watch. He was heavily recruited as well by Washington toward the end of his recruitment. He had committed to Washington State before a week or so before signing day, flipping or decommitting from Washington State and then joining the Michigan State Spartans and Mel Tucker. Now, we did not get a chance to see a lot of him playing for Michigan State, even as bad as that team was at times. He only played in 4 games as a true freshman in 2023, completing 15 of 23 passes for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. He did have 13 rushes for 67 yards, and that is a lot of what you are going to see here. But I want to highlight his ability to make plays with his legs. Again, here you're going to see him running the ball for these first couple plays. And in high school, he, for the most part, stayed behind the line and looked for a wide receiver down the field. Obviously, on that first play, he did not hear, takes off again, beating out some fairly good Michigan defensive players. That is the only pass right there. It was a great throw to the end zone right there. We get to see a little bit of that arm strength, and I do think he's got phenomenal arm strength. We measure max velocity throws here at Campus to Canton, and he was one of the better ones in his class. In fact, I'm going to pull up here some of his athletic comparisons. We have him at a 74th percentile athlete. If you follow this channel for any amount of time, you know now why I love myself some Sam Leavitt. I'm a massive fan of Quinn Ewers. I love me some Luke Cromenhoek down there at the bottom, and I'm a big fan of Ryan Puglisi as well. He can do a lot with his legs, but I also want to show you his arm comparisons here. If you look to the far right, ball velocity of 56, up there with the guys of Johnny Manziel, Jordan Travis, Steve Young, Spencer Sanders, Case Keenum, some of the names that you might recognize. Very, very good arm talent. Not only challenging down the field, he can challenge all 3 levels. He makes quick throws out to the flat, can hit people over the middle, can throw from different arm slots. And again, we didn't get to see it in those videos, but in high school, he showed the ability to throw off platform and out of structure. He has no problem avoiding sacks and getting rid of that ball. Again, he can challenge all 3 levels of the field. I think this kid has all the talents in the world, and it's why I love him going to Arizona State and with Kenny Dillingham. You have to give this kid some credit too, knowing at the time Jaden Rashada was there, who played fairly well as a true freshman. He had his ups and downs, ended up getting injured, goes in there, and for the most part gets him out of there, and it looks like he's going to take over that battle. We'll talk a little bit more about Arizona State's roster in the room in a minute. I want to talk about Kenny Dillingham. Obviously, he has been with Florida State, multiple other places beforehand, but he became Auburn with Bo Nix, where he got most of his recognition, and obviously the Arizona State job, you would say, is probably because of what he was able to do in 2022 with Oregon. As you can see here, very successful passing the ball and a pretty good offensive pass EPA. You see those dotted lines there? That is the average for coaches in college football. So he was much above that line in offensive pass success rate at a 50%, and then fairly decently ahead of that as well for the offensive EPA per play. Now, the offense was much more explosive in 2023, and that's fine. Arizona State, you can see down there, was not good. Did not cross the lines in either one of those in 2023 when he was the head coach. If you can't see, very, very bottom left corner. But again, we know that they were struggling with multiple injuries at the quarterback position. Jaden Rashada, Drew Pine, Trenton Borgo, they even went to Conovers as well, Jacob Conovers. They had 4 quarterbacks at the time because of the injuries. But here's the most important thing that I want you guys to look at. They still pass the ball a ton. They actually didn't pass it as much, in almost a 40% rate in 2022. They had a very good run game there at Oregon. But in 2023, Arizona State, 52% of the time, I believe the actual number is 52 0.8% of the time they passed the ball in early or neutral script situations, and they had a 1.5 explosive rating. Again, that's not ahead of that line where you want it to be, but it's more explosive than the 2023 Oregon offense, more explosive than that 2022 Oregon offense that he was the offensive coordinator of. Now, a lot of that fell to guys like Elijhah Badger, Xavier Gilroy, Troy O'Meary even had a couple big plays there, Melquan Stovall. Like, they had a very interesting room there, and they were able to get those plays. But again, they were dealing with injured quarterbacks. That is where I think things are going to change for them this year. Sam Leavitt is actually given a chance. I think this team could be good. Now, we have them ranked as the 80th FBS power rank team, 15th in the Big 12. I think that should be up there. The offense, we do not expect to be very good here at Campus Canton. According to our C2C winning edge package, we have their offense ranked overall at 115th, with passing at 123 and rushing 67th ranked. Now, we know the rushing attack should be good. Cameron Scatabo should be a very good running back for them. They brought over Raleek Brown, smaller size speed running back at 5'8", 185 pounds. But they also bring in Alton McCaskill, who was at Colorado last year, but had some very good years in Houston as a receiving back, very good as well. But I think this wide receiver and tight end room is a little bit underrated. It's not quite getting the love that it should. Xavier Gilroy back, who did have a good season for them last year. They bring in Jake Smith. Troy O'Meary, who was a guy that we liked for a decent amount of time here at Campus Canton, has dealt with a lot of injuries, also made some big plays for them down the field last year. It's like a 10.8 average last year in receiving yards. And then Jordan Tyson, coming over from Colorado, who's very good as a freshman, ends up unfortunately hurting his knee, and then ends up, not quite getting back to that, but was a very good deep threat for that Colorado offense. And then they bring over a tight end, Shimon Medier, who we really liked as well. Now, it looks like Marcuston Douglas is going to be the starter for them at tight end, but I think Medier is going to be a very good player as well. They target the outside a lot in 38.7%. And again, last season, 52.8% pass in early neutral script situations, was 21st in college football. I think they're going to continue to attack the ball. Marcus Arroyo comes over. He is a pro-style offensive coach as well, along with Kenny Dillingham. He played in the NFL, was the head coach of UNLV last year. Jaden Rashada had a really good season, ends up transferring to USC. And here's the last part on why I think Sam Leavitt could have that breakout season. You go look at that schedule, folks. Wyoming, 59th ranked defense. Mississippi State, 68th ranked defense. At Texas State, 102nd. At Texas Tech, 37th ranked defense, but typically get in shootouts. Kansas, 64th ranked defense. Utah, 29th ranked. This is all passing defenses, by the way. 29th ranked. At Cincinnati, 117th. At Oklahoma State, 88th. UCF, 52nd. At Kansas State, 39th. BYU, 76th. And then the duel in the desert at Arizona, 41st. Look, I get Arizona State only won 3 games last year, but I think a lot of that was just due to the quarterback play, not even being poor, just dealing with injuries. Sam Leavitt is going to change the game. He's going off the board right now as our 56th ranked quarterback. That's egregious, folks. If you look at what Kenny Dillingham did with Jordan Travis, if you go back to Florida State, his time there, they did have Mackenzie Milton, who played in 6 games as well. But Jordan Travis in his 10 games put up 308.9 points, which is good enough for QB 32, or if you look at it for points per game, 30.89 points per game, which was top 12 in fantasy. We all know what he did with Bo Nix. He was a top 3 quarterback. I might even have been the top 1 in 2022. Sam Leavitt has all of the talent and all of the necessary skills to be a top fantasy asset. It may not happen this year, but I guarantee you in 2025, he's going to be a top 15 quarterback for fantasy. And I even think there's a chance he breaks top 24 next year. And again, he's going as QB 56. Underrated breakout season coming for Sam Leavitt and the Arizona State Sun Devils. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.